Hello YouTube, Salivate Metal here. The cryptocurrencies are down and precious metals are up. And there's a lot of different reasons why that is the case. I'm kind of theorizing some of them, but first let's take a look at the charts here. We've got gold breaking up above 1230, sort of this breaking point here, and silver is up over $16. And quite fascinating to see the metals kind of uptick upwards here for the beginning of the week. We'll kind of examine why that's the case. But before we do that, let's take a look here at Bitcoin and some of the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin has been trending down over the last week, and Ethereum as well, and Litecoin as well. But you'll notice here, recently in the last day here, they've kind of started to swing back upwards again. And so that's some interesting movement that we've seen in the cryptocurrencies. And we'll kind of talk about the euphoria behind the cryptocurrencies and how the cryptocurrencies are maturing. We saw sort of what we saw here last month and so, these incredible spikes. We have Bitcoin getting up around $3,000, and Ethereum was really taking off. Litecoin as well. And so it's quite fascinating to see the growth and sort of the euphoria behind some of these cryptocurrencies, and the fact that they've kind of leveled off here and kind of even gone down a little bit maybe shows a level of maturity for the cryptocurrencies, especially when you see some of these spikes come back into play here and movements back upward for the cryptocurrencies as Bitcoin here got below 2,000. Got to beat 1900, and it's going to probably be a wild ride. We may see some of these as they mature, the growing pains of the cryptocurrencies. And again, it's not that I necessarily endorse cryptocurrencies, but I certainly understand some of the draw, and obviously those who got in at the right time could have cashed out at the right time as well and made a lot of money on these. In my view, as I've stated in the past, it's something that if you want to speculate and play with, by no means, or by all means, go for it, because you may come into a windfall, or you could lose it all. Either way, it's about being prepared for the worst and hoping for the best. I would have never have gotten in on the highs of $3,000, or probably not even now, because of the volatility. In fact, it's still maturing, and some of the exchanges are still growing. There's some issues there. It's very complex. It's a lot of different aspects of these digital currencies that come into play, and the fact and what I have pegged as the MySpace effect could still come into play for Bitcoin. Ethereum could take over. Litecoin could take over. And one of the almost 900 other cryptocurrencies could come up from the bottom and just wipe this out and become the leader. So, and that is pulling into another direction, and that will probably take place in another video of another theory I have that could occur with cryptocurrencies. But aside from that, it's quite fascinating to see. I do think they're here to stay, but they're kind of dipping down, and precious metals are going up. And so what's going on with that? Well, the biggest thing that I heard on the news this morning was about China. The Chinese finance officials said that at a big financial meeting over the weekend that they will crack down hard on excessive debt and speculation by Chinese citizens. This rattled small cap stocks in China. The world's second largest economy also showed second quarter gross domestic product growth of 6.9% from the same time last year, which is slightly above market expectations and above official China government projection for 2017 growth. And so that means that if there's going to be growth, that means there's more uses and more demand probably for all commodities and all the metals, and gold and silver will take that ride. Silver especially, as it's seen as a very strong industrial metal, as well as money. And then this other article here talking about how gold prices moved higher on Friday on the back of the weak dollar. The dollar was on the back foot of all across the board since late Friday, and it has been since utilized by the gold bulls and pushing the prices through 1220 and back towards 1230 region. has seen the game for the bulls of the last week as the instrument weakened towards the 1200 region after having broken through the crucial 1220 region. The market was expected to weaken further, and was also expected that the dollar would be the driver of the fall of the market. Was looking towards economic data from the U.S. and speeches from Yellen to provide some impetus to the dollar. But none of that seemed to happen, as Yellen chose not to sound hawkish on the dollar, while the CPI and retail sales data from the U.S. continued to be very weak. So gold is likely to be choppy. The dollar bulls would have expected some respite from the dollar beating going on in the markets when the NFP beat the expectations, and they would have hoped for this economic data boost to continue through the subsequent weeks. This was especially important for the dollar, as the Fed had made it clear that further rate hikes would be dependent on the incoming data. But with the failure of the retail sales and CPI data, the dollar bulls are back to square one, and the gold bulls have been able to get out of the trouble, at least for the time being. So very interesting indeed. And then we get into mining stocks, the mining metals, and higher copper, gold prices. And this sort of kind of goes along with some of the stuff from China. Shares of mining and metals companies got a boost Monday from rising copper prices after the Chinese gross domestic product and industrial production data beat expectations. Copper for September delivery rose 1.7% to $2.73 some odd cents a pound of the COMEX division of New York Mercantile Exchange, their highest level since March. Gold was also higher, with August contracts up 0.5% at $12.3350 an ounce. Adding to the updraft, Jefferies on Friday said it expects a significant increase in capital returns for metals and mining companies this earnings season, as balance sheets are strong and cash is abundant. Jefferies named Freeport McMoran as one of its top picks. Then it goes into some specifics here, and here you can see the different charts. So very interesting indeed. What's happening here with the precious metals, with all this latest news, to see it move. And of course, as mentioned and recently, when it's kind of fascinating to watch this stuff. I'm of the mind that I will just keep buying when I can, and whether or not the price is high or not. Obviously, if I had more money when the price dips, then I would take advantage. So post your thoughts below. Interesting news indeed. Post your thoughts about cryptocurrencies too. Do you think it's here to stay, or do you think they're just going to fall out of favor? I'd like to extend the multitude of gratitude y'all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.